just a second ago, almost 2 hours. Now they switched up over Mexican. So this is the English word set in between. Now, it's reported the reason why they prop up people around gang stalking victims to repeat certain words and phrases that's connected to the sensitization method of gang stalking, and the purpose of it is auditorial brain entrainment. But another purpose for it is auditorial brain entrainment to create word salad auditorial brain entrainment pathways, because they know that the victim can't speak Spanish. So what they do is they anchor certain words in the victim's mind to this crime, which is the sensitization method, and then they prop up these little skanks who speak different languages than the victim. So the victim is forced to hear the language they're speaking. They know that the victim's brain won't make sense of what they're speaking because it's a different language, and as they're talking, they'll interject English words within their statements in order to get the brain's attention. The brain is then forced to, through auditorial driving, the brain then fixates on what's being said because they're being presented with anchored words being said around them that are related to this crime. So the brain is forced to, through auditorial driving, where they're driving the brain to focus on it because they know, the ones who are using them know, that the victim has been sensitized to these words. So when the brain hears it, the brain processes what it hears concerning the specific words that the victim has been sensitized to. That then gets the attention of the brain auditorially, and then the brain will continue to listen. And then when the brain is forced to hear language that the victim doesn't speak, then the brain is not going to be able to make sense of what's being said. And that in turn can create word salad auditorial brain training pathways. So go to Google and type in at Google how gang stalking crimes try to induce artificial schizophrenia. Because in schizophrenic minds, schizophrenic minds will process things non-linearly. They'll process, which is part of the word salad, aspects of schizophrenia. And so what they're trying to do is intentionally create schizophrenic auditorial brain training pathways. Okay, and interference signals, because when the brain cannot make sense of what it's hearing, pertaining to the different language being spoken, the brain cannot make a comprehensive conclusion concerning what's being said. That then creates a interference signal neurally. This is an extremely sophisticated crime. The satanic rats who developed it are directly connected to the military, alphabet agencies, intelligence agencies, and once you create an auditorial brain training interference signal, it's being exposed on a massive scale online, including by scientists and doctors, that the purpose of creating interference signals is to bring the brain into a point to where the brain cannot critically think, because it's not making a comprehensive conclusion based on what it hears. As a direct result, the brain gets temporarily locked into a no thinking process, where the brain cannot... it's like if you're walking down the street and you come up on a curb and you can't continue to walk because the curb's there unless you lift your foot up. That's a bad example, actually. The point being is that that's like if somebody says to you, the sky is blue, look, the sky's black. So the brain is going to take that context of those statements, and it's going to deliberate the theme of what's being said. Now, we all know the sky ain't black, so when the brain hears the sky's blue, then it hears the sky's black. It's going to come to a point in the mind where the mind cannot make sense of that because there's no actual comprehension behind it. So the brain is then going to lock itself for a moment or a second or two, because there's no conclusion to be made concerning the comprehension of the theme of the text, of the context. That then creates a interference signal neurally through the photonic signals of the brain as the brain is processing the information. Now, the purpose of that is so R&M can latch on to that interference signal, heterodyne it, and then stimulate it so that in the future, when the victim should be able to be thinking during a staged event, they won't be able to think because they're stimulating an interference signal. It's like locking up the brain. Executive function. So when they stage an event, they don't want the victim to be able to think about how to deal with the event. So they're locking the brain up by creating the interference signal, heterodyning it, and sending a modulated signal to it in order to lock the brain up by stimulating it and repeatedly stimulating it while the event is unfolding. And that's extremely dangerous, especially if you got a technology called, voice skull with voice morphing, where they can influence the brain to think certain thoughts while the brain is locked up by stimulating the interference signal. Because when they stage an event, they don't want the victim to be able to think critically about how to respond to the event. They want to lock the brain up to keep it from thinking with critical thinking, which is your neo and prefrontal cortex executive functions. So if they can lock the brain up while then the brain is being intruded upon through BTK with voice morphing, then they can trick the brain into believing they're having a thought about how to respond to the event. This is technological neurological infiltration for technological neurological influencing gang stalking.
Hey, where's you? I thought you guys didn't come on Saturday.
Yeah, we do. Every
You
day.
got, huh?
Every day.
What's on the schedule today?
Breakfast sandwiches, and we're going to do homemade pizza tonight.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys eat better than I do.
Yeah, we do. That'll be a good trip.
So the two skinks that were just gaslighting the shit out of me for the last 2 hours here, they just got up and walked away, and I got massive motherfucking evidence on 2 tape recorders concerning it. Everybody have a great day. Today's date is August 1st, 2020. Does it honestly sound like I don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, I'm an extremely educated victim, but check this out. Even when you're educated concerning this technology, consider this. It doesn't matter what you know. Because remote neural monitoring, when it gains a neurological access, it gains a neurological access through the unconscious awareness part of the brain, the right hemisphere. So when they're neurologically hacking into you, you're not consciously aware of it because it's hacking into the unconscious layer of the brain. Okay? And so even when you know all this information, when they stage an event, go to Google and type in remote neural monitoring and memory blanking and thought interruption as well. See, this is one of the reasons why extremely educated gang stalking victims expose what we expose. Because every human being on this planet has a right to their own cognitive liberty. Every human being does. Absolutely, that's the way God made us.
Are you guys having a good day?
Yeah, how are you?
How do you like the weather?
Good.
Yeah.
Nice and warm.
Today's date is August 1st, right?
It is, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So, the only way that human beings can survive this crime, is 1, through educated knowledge. 2, if you're a victim of this crime and you might be a victim of R&M, the best thing for you to do is to get a tape recorder and make verbal statements like I made in this tape recorder, and then you listen to them, not very often though, because you don't want to become auditory brain trained to that, because anything you hear repetitiously through your internal language, subvocal speech language processing, and anything you hear through your ears, if you continue to hear it over and over and over again, your brain will create a auditory brain trained pathway. But the point being is that if you make a tape recording audio file, relaying this information into the tape recorder and then play it back once in a while, you can use that as a memory anchor. Because what did I just fucking say? R&M can blank your memory during a staged event. Okay? So go back and carefully listen to what I stated. And when you research gang stalking, remote neural monitoring, creating artificial schizophrenia, there's fucking doctors and scientists on the internet right now exposing that. Yeah, because once you can set up a gang stalking victim through a staged event while they're being technologically, neurologically infiltrated and manipulated, you can then make them a ward of the state for legal probate control schemes. therefore, then racketeering schemes, insurance fraud schemes, human trafficking schemes, once the victim has been put in a group home by trying to claim the victim has a mental illness and therefore cannot take care of themselves, we are talking about massive, massive, massive extreme criminalities through this crime. Oh, on a massive scale. They're locking people up all over the fucking country by using this sick shit. Absolutely. They're demonic human trafficking, rape, and murdering animals. It's all they are. It is literally all they will ever be. And check this out in closing. Scientists are exposing this. Doctors are exposing this. And extremely educated gang stalking victims are exposing this. So take what I state, research what I state, and over time you will come to the same conclusion. Okay. We as citizens, the only way we're going to survive this crime is through educated knowledge. Everybody have a great day.